Welcome back to the action. Apologies for that those issues there. You're back at the Timothy Plan at the Glen race here for the 2021 Elite JoinAPS Cup Series. There you see Jordan Owens with some issues there, just getting spun around there in the final corner. We did have some technical difficulties. We are back to bring you guys the action to the finish of this race. Apologies once again for the new link and everything, and this being a new video. Unfortunately, some of the constraints there, but David and I are back here with you guys in the booth and ready to bring the rest of the race to you guys. It is still Colin Fern leading the way by a considerable margin over Chuck Sweeting, 2.66 seconds to second place driver, and then Ethan Burrell. I mean, what a great run he's been having, running in the third position here right now, defending with a solid gap from teammate Matthew Weeks, Tyler Fody, Marcus Trucknick, and then R.C. Enerson rounding out that top seven there.
Wow, what a kind of change in development of this race. It's gone from what looked like kind of a bit of a caution fest and a bit of a crazy rundown to now we've got some of these fast guys with damage bottled up behind cars with older tires, and the guys with clean air and old tires are pulling away. For now, it looks like Colin Fern able to kind of hold that lead at 3 seconds over Chuck Sweeting, and no one is really eating into his lead. We're going to have to see if one of these guys back here can jump back onto the lead and try to get through these guys. I don't envision we'll have another caution the rest of the way, and I envision that the rest of this race is going to be green without a pit stop. So looks like Colin Fern is in the driver's seat. We have to see if one of these guys back here, Tyler Fody, R.C. Enerson, Ryan Gavel, or Ryan Lutz, can really run them down.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I mean, he's pulled out that huge gap, and he's been able to do that over Chuck Sweeting. And the other big thing is Matthew Weeks and his ability right now holding off these fast Lake Norman Motorsports cars and R.C. Enerson. I mean, these have been the guys who have been leading the way all throughout this race. Tyler Fody, Marcus Trucknick, Ryan Gavel, Ryan Lutz, R.C. Enerson. But right now, they just can't get past this 11 car. So a fantastic defending job by Matthew Weeks that's preventing all of these guys with these fresher tires to preventing them from moving forward and trying to actually get to the likes of Colin Fern, who's on those older tires from the previous stage.
Here comes Tyler Fody, though. He's going to make a big, bold move into turn one, and this is what he really needs. He needs to be able to start eating into the time, as Marcus Trucknick overdrove the corner and lost a spot to R.C. Enerson and Ryan Gavel. So even in that pass by Tyler Fody for Lake Norman, another falls kind of by the wayside. These guys kind of overdriving their cars maybe a little bit, kind of scrambling because they know they have 5 seconds to make up. Does Tyler Fody? Might even be 6 seconds now, up to the 86 car of Colin Fern.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work in front of him, but right now he's in the best position to take the fight to Colin Fern. As I don't think Ethan Burrell has anything quite there for him as Burrell passed Chuck Sweeting. Chuck Sweeting has kind of been falling back here, not a ton of pace right now in that 75 car. So he's just kind of hanging on right now, but Ethan Burrell, we'll see what he can do. 3.6 seconds to Colin Fern, though, so certainly a long way to go, as R.C. Enerson now looks like he's about to make the move around the outside of Matthew Weeks, and he'll get that done there. Beautiful move by R.C., but yeah, these guys have really got to get moving. Lap 45 to 62, there's still time to get to...
Ooh, Weeks hit the apron. Weeks hit the curb there and slid it sideways. Marvelous save. I think he kind of just sped up the inevitable there. All those guys were going to end up going past him at some point anyway. Before the race, Matthew Weeks told me he was just going to be happy if he could bring it home in one piece. And so he's been able to do that, been able to keep this 11 car clean for the most part, and kind of in position to make a top 10, top 15 run. I think he's more than happy with this result. Locked into the chase, obviously, as the Daytona 500 winner. So a good save, and he'll be content to sit right there and kind of hope for maybe some issues in front of him to gain him a few more spots.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep an eye out and see the kind of night that he's going to be having, but I think a top 10 result for Matthew Weeks would be excellent in that 11 car. But yeah, 4.2 seconds now, the gap between Colin Fern and Ethan Burrell. It's expanding. So not quite. Ethan Burrell, I don't think quite has the stuff to fight that 86 car, but Tyler Fody already coming up to the back here of Chuck Sweeting. This group of cars here, Fody, Enerson, Gavel, Trucknick, and Lutz, they're all closing in on this pack. They're getting ready to begin chasing down our leader, Colin Fern, if they can get past Sweeting and Burrell.
And we got to know Tyler Fody is really driving hard, eating into the lead, I think, of Fern a little bit. But what he's really doing is putting pressure on Chuck Sweeting for now. If Fody can get Sweeting in a good spot and not lose much time, I think this 40 car might have something for Colin Fern. He just has to get through this traffic. Chuck and Ethan Burrell both definitely not going to be pushovers. Those guys are running for points. Two guys chasers last year. Here comes Fody in a pretty dangerous spot on the track. Might be the best spot, though, as Chuck kind of pulls over, gives him room, neither lose time. Good spot there for Tyler Fody. That's going to be a big advantage here, as R.C. Anderson's going to have to run through this slower section of the track behind Chuck Sweeting. That might allow Tyler Fody to open the gap up between himself and R.C. Anderson.
Yeah, he's really hoping that that Chuck Sweeting defends nice and firmly in front of RC here. Again, just give Fody some breathing space. But we even saw, I mean, he had about half a lap ahead of Matthew Weeks in front of RC Anderson, and Anderson was still able to close in. I think that 50 car right now is probably the fastest car on track. He's just been stuck behind some of these other guys, stuck behind some traffic. If he can get by Chuck Sweeting, again, R.C. Anderson is a very terrifying prospect for both Burrell and Fern, and even Tyler Fody. And here we go. The 50 car to the inside of turn 1, on the brakes hard, and he makes it nice and easily. R.C. Anderson up to P4, Tyler Fody in 3rd position. Look out, both Colin Fern and Ethan Burrell. The gap was 6.5 seconds back to between Fern and Fody just a lap and a half ago. It's now 5.5.
Yep, eating into the lead. The fresh tires absolutely helping out. We've got some guys also, I believe, on the pit road in the back of the field that we may end up running into with this front group. So we'll have to keep our eye out for any potential pit stops and maybe even the fuel situation, though I think with all those caution laps, these guys should be good to run to the end of the race. But Colin Fern would be the driver, I think, that might not have the full ability to run all the way there.
Yeah, that's the biggest question mark right now, isn't it? We did have those 3 cautions. So, you know, we had multiple attempts, or I mean 4, even if you count the stage break. There was time for Colin Fern to really save fuel and try and make it. So, I mean, we don't know the numbers, right? I mean, we have no update in terms of what kind of fuel these guys have left in their cars. We're just speculating up here in the booth. And we've certainly got it wrong before, especially when it comes to fuel. But, you know, I could definitely see Colin Fern being able to save. You can turn off the motors in these cars. You can throw them in neutral, roll them around the track for most of the way. Pretty much once you get up to the top of the hill, you can just kind of roll it all the way back down. So, you know, you run 3-4 caution laps and you do that 3 or 4 times. It wouldn't surprise me if the 86 can make it here to the end and with very little fuel save as a whole. But what he's really going to struggle with is I think the fact that he's got older tires compared to the likes of Tyler Fody and R.C. Anderson, and that's eventually going to be a problem. This track eats up tires, especially corners like the carousel here, where that front left is screaming to just cool down once again.
You know, it's an interesting little prospect here. We see Ryan Gavel not eating into the Chuck Sweeting lead. I really thought once RC and Fody blew around Chuck Sweeting that Ryan Gavel would be right behind them, next to follow, and he really hasn't made any inroads on that 75 car. Chuck's been able to hold him at bay, and really Gavel not able to move forward. I wonder if any of the damage from various incidents there is kind of hampering the one in any way. Same with Ryan Lutz behind him. You know, those guys were leading this race in stage 2, 1-2 in that stage. Now they're kind of faltered a little bit and headed back in 6th and 7th after those incidents to begin this stage. Wow, Gavel sideways through the S's.
Yeah, I mean that right there brings up a point, and potentially, you know, could Ryan Gavel, Ryan Lutz, I mean, you don't normally expect to see it from them, especially at these road courses, but could they have burned their stuff up when they were in that tight pack with Marcus Frucknick, Tyler Fody, R.C. Anderson, all stuck behind Matthew Weeks? Could they have tried burning their stuff up while they were just trying to make any kind of progress there? And then when finally Tyler Fody and RC made it past those two, made it past the likes of Weeks, made it past Chuck Sweeting, these guys already used up all their stuff. Ryan Lutz is coming back a little bit here at Ryan Gavel, but right now they don't really have any answer for Chuck Sweeting, while Fody and RC were able to quickly move past. And And even now, Fody is looking like he's ready to get past Ethan Burrell on this next straightaway. So the pace is there with the 40 car and the 50 car. That both of those guys seem to save their stuff and are working pretty well right now. But as it stands, Ryan Gabel, Ryan Lutz, Marcus Rucknick struggling right now to, I think, maintain their tires, as I think, unfortunately, Casey Hatch has just pulled his car into pit road and or towed his car back to pit road. It might be the end of the day for the number 14 there.
Disappointing end to Casey Hatch's current run as an Elite Racing driver, and once again, we wish him the best. A bunch of drivers running tribute schemes to Casey Hatch this week. He's off to join the Army, run basic training next Tuesday. So good luck to Casey Hatch for sure. And we mentioned it once before, but we'll mention it again. It's worth mentioning. And here comes Tyler Fody on Ethan Burrell. RC is going to take Ethan Burrell here as well. Ethan maybe left a little too much of a gap there. He'll lose 2 spots, but that'll be all for the 37 car. Still an impressive run for Ethan Burrell, who was not entering this race and has absolutely outperformed his own expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very impressive run by Ethan Burrell, and he's taken advantage of the opportunities that have come to him. Definitely guys in front of him who've been faster. You know, he hasn't been the fastest guy tonight, but he's been consistent, and he's been making the best of those opportunities. And yeah, he was running second for a large portion of the race there for quite a few laps. He does lose out there to Tyler Fody, to RC Enerson, but I mean, I think if he can bring that 37 car home in the 4th position or a top 5 in general, I think that's a very positive day for Ethan Burrell, especially at a track where I think he's self-proclaimed that this is not one of his strong suits, this type of racing.
Ethan feels very similarly to road course racing as I do. I'm generally not a huge fan of it. At least the skill set is kind of counterintuitive to the way I've always kind of thought about racing. And I grew up in the era of NASCAR having road course ringers and only a couple of guys being, elite road course drivers. So my expertise has always been in ovals, and I know you're kind of the opposite, where you're more of a all road courses all the time kind of a guy, and I get it. It's just different worlds, but nowadays every NASCAR driver is a pretty solid to great road racer, and there's no more need for the road course ringer style drivers.
Yeah, there's no need for those. It's very much a case of you just have to be strong everywhere. I think NASCAR, the modern schedule that we've got requires you to be strong at any given racetrack. You can't just rely on being particularly good at a single track, so it's, or at a single track type. So it's, you really have to be strong wherever you go, and you have to have a strong car entirely throughout the season. So, I'm a big fan of that. I think you've got, NASCAR has taken the crown away from IndyCar, which I think has long held the distinction of most diverse schedule. I think now NASCAR very clearly has that. With the variety of ovals and road courses, I think the only thing they're missing in NASCAR is street courses now. And I think there's even been some word of them adding the Nashville street course to the NASCAR schedule. So certainly looking forward to that. And I think once they add that, I mean, you've got one of the most exceptional calendars in worldwide motorsport.
Yep, it's NASCAR has really diversified the road racing schedule, like you said. It's getting better, but Watkins Glen here, they have opportunities to maybe even change up the Watkins Glen road course. You can run the boot side of the road course as well. We're going to be running that, I believe, on Saturday for the 6-hour event, the Elite Racing 6 hours at the Glen. It'll be similar to any standard sports car. You have the Daytona prototypes as well as a number of classes running there, and you'll find all your favorite Elite Racing drivers running that race. So that'll be from, I believe, 12 to 6 on Saturday Eastern time, right here on the Elite Racing Network.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be helping with productions for that program as well. It's going to be exciting. I am a big fan of that classic style of endurance racing. As here we go, RC Enerson looking for a move on Tyler Fody, but not quite there. But yeah, man, oh man, that you get prototypes, GT cars. That for me is my bread and butter. But here we go, battle for second. RC Enerson to the inside of Tyler Fody and door-to-door through the carousel. A beautiful move by RC. Oh, no! Hard to the wall for both the 40 and the 50.
Oh, I was just about to send off a tweet asking if whether or not either of those two could make the catch. Colin Fern. That right there, I think, seals up the race for the 86 car. Oh my goodness.
Let's we gotta take a closer look at what exactly happened there, and what we're gonna do is actually take a look at the onboard from Tyler Fode, because it seemed to be contact there between those two guys. Well, obviously it was contact there, but it's difficult to tell if it was Fode hooking with RC coming back out. And so here we go. This is onboard that 40 car here.
I wonder if there's some net code. That's the reaction to me of net code. Tyler Fode trying to keep it as close as possible to the 50 car. I mean, we know Tyler Fode's not going to make a mistake like that. Take out both drivers and ruin the race for both of them. This guy won the regular season championship last season, after all. But man, oh man, it had to be net code to my eye. The way the RC Anderson car reacted. They just jumped to the left. It looks like those cars caught up with the box on netcode. Maybe a chase view might help.
Potentially, yeah. We could try that out and see how that looks.
To my eye as well. So try to catch that netcode here. Just keeping it close. Nothing wrong with that. No, might have just misjudged.
It's been a close incident between the two drivers there.
That didn't look like netcode after all. Like contact, and Fode now down to 8th. A couple of guys look like they've pitted. I think Matthew Weeks has pitted. The 11 car, so he's going to be further back now.
Yeah, I mean, after all of that, the driver who takes the most advantages is Ethan Burrell. He's back up to P2, and again, we should talk about this. Yes, he's been lucky, especially with that incident right there, and with how other things have fallen, but a fantastic drive nonetheless from Ethan. To keep this car running in P2. And he's actually closing a little bit here on Colin Fern, who I think is starting to struggle a little bit with those tires in that 86 car. That gap's closing pretty quickly, actually.
I wonder if Colin Fern might realize that he's going to be low on fuel. He is the one. I think Ethan Burrell might actually be in this similar boat where we saw Matthew Weeks pit for fuel as well. Maybe Colin Fern has realized he may or may not have enough gas to make it to the end. And, if that's the case, and the guys who've been staying out don't have enough gas to make it to the end on fuel, that would leave, guess who, in the catbird seat? Ryan Lutz in the 36 car, last week's winner, and winner of the 4 races in a row last week in the Elite Racing League.
I was going to say, how fitting would it be if all these guys run out of fuel, and it's Ryan Lutz who crosses the start-finish line in first. Here we go. He is past Chuck Sweeting. Ryan Gavel may be looking for a move. Not going to get past Sweeting, but Lutz now passed both both Gavel and Chuck Sweeting. So forward progress and momentum for the 36 car. What can he do? He's 7 seconds back. He's going to need a pretty major run here, I think, to get Colin Fern and Ethan Burrell without fuel being an issue. However, if fuel is a problem for those two guys leading the way, man, oh man, we could have something here.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be up to whether or not Ethan Burrell can eat into that lead anymore, and does everyone have enough fuel to make it? Chuck Sweeting just headed through the grass, giving 4th to Ryan Gavel. Oh man, Lutz driving the wheels off of that thing as he's wont to do. Just about everywhere we go, that 36 car's hanging it out. Going as hard as he can.
Gavel and Frucknick now both past Chuck Sweeting there. So again, ultimately a fairly strong night as a whole for this Lake Norman Motorsports group there. If they can grab 3 cars in the top 5 at the end of it, I think they'll be pretty happy with that. The gap up front, though, has stabilized at 4.1 seconds or so. So Colin Fern ahead of Ethan Burrell still. It doesn't look like Ethan's closing in much, and actually lost a little bit on that last lap as well. So maybe just a bit of a sloppy lap from Colin Fern as we come to 5 to go.
Going to be difficult for Ethan to catch him now. Needs something to happen. We were pretty sure they were going to make it on fuel, and then some of the guys in the mid-pack started to pit. But Colin Fern is also kind of running amongst lap traffic, and I wonder if that will play a role in Ethan Burrell making a move and being able to reel in the 86 car of Colin Fern.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. Right now, Ryan Lutz closing in pretty quickly on Ethan Burrell, and that could be a battle that we'll see with maybe 1 or 2 laps to go here. Is that 36 car, could he challenge for the second position? So it's still certainly not over up front, but it is pretty spread out, at least right now. Guys are just kind of hoping to catch up. We got a little bit of battle going on here just outside the top 10 between teammates Scott Crump and Brandon Key. Scott Crump with some pretty major damage on that car. I'd be expecting to let his teammate by in the form of Brandon Key, but so far nothing quite there. As Scott Crump actually doing a pretty good job holding on there despite the pretty significant front end damage on that number 90 car.
One thing I've learned about iRacing is the damage isn't always shown consistently. So Crump could have barely, any nose damage at all, but because we reloaded the session a time or two, that car may be showing worse on our end than it actually is.
Yeah, that certainly could be the case, as well as I'm also noticing a different livery on that 25 car now that we've reloaded after the crash we had earlier in this race. So some changes for sure, but we'll let that slide. They did a quick rewrap of that car under that last caution, I suppose.
Right, and it's just the technical side of it. It's what iRacing is all about. Able to kind of run on your computer, but for us here, occasionally it's going to throw us out of our comfort zone due to computer woes. Here's
something: Ryan Lutz is not closing in on Ethan Burrell. That gap has not closed down. In fact, it might have opened up a little bit in that last lap. Ryan Lutz just hasn't quite had something there. He might have burned through his stuff again. Not quite able to catch up to that 37 car as we're at 3 laps to go now. Colin Fern right now looking very pretty out front there after a tricky weekend at Milwaukee. Right now, Fern with a great strategy called pitting before the end of stage 2 and then never pitting again when everybody else did. I mean, this has worked out brilliantly for the 86, assuming he's able to make it to the end. 3 laps to go. The pace he's running at makes me feel like he's pretty confident about the fuel level in that car.
Yeah, I think so too. He would have to be getting the notification right about now that he's only got 2 laps of fuel left if he weren't to make it all the way. As he goes around that lap, car loses about a half second to Ethan Burrell, but it would require Ethan to run over a second faster the rest of the way in order to catch this 86 car. I don't think that's going to be happening. I envision Colin Fern will be going to victory lane, barring a lack of fuel in the fuel cell.
Yeah, so very much still to be decided, though, as he's coming around to 2 to go, so just over 2.5 minutes left in this race. We once again thank you guys who were able to switch over from that previous stream and enjoy the final stage of this event here. Really appreciate that, and apologies once again for the technical difficulties, but we're always happy to bring you guys the action here in the Elite Racing Leagues. It's been a pretty chaotic one here at Watkins Glen so far, as it's been, we've had a number of different leaders, a number of comers and goers. Like you said earlier in this race, we saw guys who were strong at the start who've fallen back or got involved in incidents, and we've seen guys who were running outside the top 10 who've now found their way inside that top 5, inside that top 3, in the likes of Ethan Burrell, who's moved his way forward and might even be our hard charger of the race. We don't know that officially, but a great run nonetheless there. And here you go, a pass for the 6th position, Jared Rexing getting past Chuck Sweeting, so it's not quite over yet, and Tyler Fody trying to salvage some points after that incident between himself and R.C. Anderson earlier on in this race.
Colin Fern coming down to the white flag now, and this 86 car will make 8 more turns and come home a winner, locking himself into the chase. I think that'll be our 4th different driver to lock themselves in, leaving, I think, only 10 spots available for points. And I assume we'll have a few repeat winners, but certainly a decent amount of parity to start this Elite Racing season.
Absolutely, it's been incredible. I mean, as we do start this final lap, 4 completely different racetracks, 4 completely different race winners, very different personalities as well. I should note as well. But yeah, I mean, that's just what you expect to see in the Elite Racing Leagues, and each season it gets more and more competitive. I mean, last season we had maybe 2 or 3 repeat winners, and one of those was Colin Bowden. who we haven't actually seen here so far in this 2021 season. Not sure if he's going to be running at all, or where we expect to see that 24 car this season, if he'll be joining us for any one-off events. But yeah, right now it's been an exceptional start to the season. There's been a lot of strong drivers as well who haven't been to Victory Road, so still a lot to go. But finally, 2 more corners here to go for Colin Fern. I don't believe he's been victorious here in the Elite Racing Leagues before, but this 86 car, the Brandon Built Motorsports number 86 car of Colin Fern, rounds the final corner, and he's going to be victorious here at Watkins Glen. He saves enough fuel. There you go. Colin Fern wins it from Ethan Burrell, and Ryan Lutz is your third position driver. Ryan Gabel rounds out that top 4.
Yep. Great race for Colin Fern, man. Called the strategy right. Was able to get the track position right when things got crazy, and then got the caution laps and was able to put together a very clean final stage for himself and take home the victory.
Yeah, great job there by Colin, and a great job by Ethan as well to bring that car home in P2. The celebrations will be underway here shortly as drivers continue to cross the line. Some celebration from his teammates there. You see Josh Adams giving a quick little drive-by to congratulate. There you see Josh Robin as well, and Caleb Thompson all meeting up with that 86 car. Ooh, Tate Lytle there ends the race there, and there you see Jeff Green as well, potentially joining his teammate for some celebration. But here we go, the donuts. It's time to burn it down for Colin Fern, winner here at the Timothy Plan at the Glen. 62 laps completed. It's Colin Fern, 86 Brandon Built Motorsports car, victorious.
Yeah, why don't we bring in our third place finisher while Colin Fern burns him down here and kind of figure out what went wrong in that final run. Ryan Lutz with us now, and Ryan, you saw you win stage 2. It looked like you had a pretty fast little number 36 car, but stage 3 just didn't go your way, it looked like, on those restarts.
Yeah, we had a pretty good car. I thought we had like a 6th to 7th place car there, and we just happened to get lucky. Chad overdrove the corner. It was, and we were just able to hang on there and take the lead from RC and just barely hold on for the stage, and really had to drive Gavel pretty hard and felt bad running the teammate that hard, but stages are there and those are important. So I don't know, we're just able to put a full race together like we always do in road course, seems like, and just bide our time, keep the fenders on it, and luckily we just drove away with the P3.
Yeah, Ryan, I mean, a great result to end it off, obviously coming off the win last week, and then following it up with a third place here. Just good momentum. David brought it up a couple of times. Thoughts are certainly pointed towards just trying to get that regular season championship, getting those extra chase points. How do you take this result as a whole, and how do you look forward to the next rounds coming up?
Yeah, these are the races we need to put together in the regular season. We had I think it was a 5th in the first stage. We won the second stage and finished P3 in the in the race. So that's the races you need to put together to win this regular season championship, and that's definitely the goal for all 3 series. So it was definitely a good one. We weren't quite the best, but we hung in there and just drove our butt off and just ended up P3, and that's definitely nothing to hang our heads on, and just really looking forward to next week.
Ryan, it's one of those things where you don't win 2 races in a row, and I start to get worried. Oh man, what's going on with Ryan Lutz? But P3 today is a pretty good result, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Road course aren't my strong suits, and we've definitely been getting better. Watkins Glen's a good road course for me. I think it's the better road courses for me, and we're like a 3rd to 8th place car usually, and just tonight, we were lucky enough to win that stage and really capitalize on those stage points and just really put ourselves in position there. It wasn't probably the right call to come to pit road there, but I'd rather be good to go and gas than worrying out front. So I mean, from my standpoint, it was the right call, and we just took the best finish we can get, and that's all you can do.
All right, Ryan, before we let you go here, just want to give you a chance to give a couple of shout outs before you enjoy this 3rd place position.
Yeah, of course. You, David, you do an awesome job with the broadcast. Chad puts an awesome league on. Congrats to Colin Fern. It's pretty cool. Ethan had a good run too, so it's cool to see those guys run pretty well. L&M guys ran awesome tonight. All of us were right up there, when it mattered, and we were, I don't know, 1st through 6th for a little bit right there, and just everyone that puts this deal on, Spotter, Brandon Wilkinson, big quarter mine, PFC Breaks with Chris Tailback Racing, Natural Designs, really everyone that puts this league on. It's always fun to come out Wednesdays and have fun with a great group of guys.
All right, man. Great job once again. P3 here at the Glen, and next week Bristol night race 500 laps. Expecting to see that 36 car back up at front.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Awesome. That's Ryan Lutz, third place runner. Let's grab our second place man as well, Ethan Burrell. If I can. Right there, Ethan Burrell. Congratulations on running second, man. If I had told you before the race you were going to run second, I don't think you would have believed me.
Absolutely not. That was a crazy one out there. I really just focused on putting myself in the right spot. I felt way off. Usually I got okay speed at road courses, but I felt quite a bit off in practice and qualifying, and I just kept myself relevant, and I mean avoided the spell of chaos we had there at those stage breaks, and yeah, no, I am absolutely thrilled to come away with the podium tonight.
Yeah, I mean, just talk us through the progress you made throughout this race, man. It was pretty impressive there, and ultimately that third stage, just surviving some of the chaos there, starting it early, and I mean, yeah, just you were a little bit ways in the pack. You were, I think, were pretty close to getting involved in one or two of those incidents there in turns 1 and 2. Just talk us through the start of that stage, and then settling into a rhythm to finish off, which such a strong P2 finish.
Yeah, thankfully my race pace was a bit better than what kind of speed I showed in practice and qualifying, so that helped me. But starting I think 22nd or so, I knew I was going to have a lot of passing to do, and I was feeling pretty content that first stage. Passed a few cars and had some nice clean racing. But yeah, those those stage breaks. Everybody had an agenda, and some guys getting down into that first corner, I mean, it can almost be a war zone at times. So thankfully, I just kept the nose clean, getting into turn 1 off the starts, and was keeping an eye on the mirror, making sure I didn't get hit from behind, and yeah, just navigating my way through there. I know a lot of the quick guys that we usually see up at the front end up getting collected, so that really helped me out. And that last run, I knew I was going to be close on fuel, and I knew Fern was going to be even closer than that. So I didn't feel like I had the pace to be able to run with him. But I mean, I was just hoping and praying that he'd run out of gas and I'd be able to steal one.
Dude, how close was it there, Ethan, on gas? We believed that you guys were going to make it, but because Fern wasn't really holding off and trying to save. So yeah, when did you get that like 2-lap warning?
Yeah, I had about, I want to say I had about 3 laps of fuel at the checkered, but I know Fern had stayed out in extra caution longer than I did. I asked him afterward. He said he had like 9/10 of a gallon left after the finish. So, I knew it was going to be close. I was worried about if I was even going to have enough gas earlier in that final stage, but I kind of just put the pedal to the floor, knowing that those guys were going to be coming up to me, the Fody and RC, and I wasn't, I kind of just let those guys go by because I didn't want to waste their time holding them up, but they ended up having their incident, so I just kind of snuck on by and ended up with second.
Yeah, once again, a great job. And before we let you go here, man, want to give you the chance to make any shout-outs.
Yeah, I just want to thank my buddy Austin, all my friends and family for racing, my mom, brother, niece Stephanie, my fiance Rachel, my grandma, Aunt Judy. Got a whole posse of people cheering me on in these races. Thanks to you guys for putting on the show. I know these long races are pretty hard on you guys up in the booth too, so I appreciate that. And all my teammates at Pro Edge Racing. I know a lot of those guys didn't have the night they wanted. Had a high hopes for Tooker to have a solid run, but didn't work out that way. But Yeah, just thanks to everybody for putting this thing together.
For sure. So thank you so much, Ethan, and yeah, good luck next week. And in the 10, and I don't know if you're running the 6-hour race on Saturday, but good luck in that one too.
All right, thank you.
That's our second place finisher, Ethan Burrell. Uh, I don't know whether or not we're getting the race winner coming in here. Colin Fern doesn't appear to be on Discord anywhere, so unless he shows up here in the next little bit, Rish, you got any final thoughts for us?
No, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we won't get a chance to talk to our winner, Colin Fern, there, but I think another pretty crazy race here tonight. Definitely not, the top two I would have expected, I think, coming into this event. We talked about the likes of Ryan Gabel, Ryan Lutz, and of course, you go further back and you see R.C. Enerson and David Tooker, who got caught up in incidents and didn't get the finishes they wanted here tonight. But I mean, that's part of the challenge of these road course races, right? They're longer events, and you really just need to, you have those guaranteed stage cautions, you got those guaranteed restarts. You got to be careful on those, and just stay off the grass, keep your car clean, and that doesn't always happen. And whether or not it's your fault, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because when you're, when it comes down to it at the end of the season, I think you're ultimately just, it's going to be 1 or 2 points that decides this championship. But actually, it appears to me that we've got our race winner in the broadcasting room with us. Is that correct, Colin Fern? Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir, man. Sorry, I was celebrating over there in the media center over there, and I couldn't quite find my way up here.
No worries, man. Happy to have you up in the booth. Congratulations, a great run there. And we spoke with Ethan, who kind of alluded to it, but we do want to know just how much gas did you have in that car at the end there, because that was a long run on fuel.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the gallons. I kind of had a spotter in there telling me I was good, and I wasn't really trusting them, so I kept checking it every once in a while, and came over there with 2 to go, and I had about a gallon and a half left, and had about a 5-second lead, and I was like, okay, I'm short shifting, I'm braking or super early. I wasn't saving that whole last run until about 2 to go, and luckily I was just hoping it wouldn't sputter coming up the S's there up the hill, and it didn't, and we were all set, and we're able to pull away with a win.
Yeah, Colin, talk about the kind of idea for your strategy there to try to get some track position starting this third stage, which obviously kept you out of the craziness that happened behind you. Was that, the call of your spotter there?
No, I was pissed off. So I don't know if I can say that. I'm sorry. I was upset because I got a black flag there pitting when pit road was closed, and I still swear I was at the cone, but I wasn't. I went back and looked at it. I wasn't at the cone, and got a black flag for pitting when pit road was closed there at the end of stage 1. So I had to go to the back, and I knew I needed any chance of track position I could get, and short pitted the end of that second stage, and just got track position. And we had a couple laps there, and Chad went down pit road, and I felt like I still needed to stop one more time, and I wanted the freshest tires I could get when we got that long run. And we just had a pair of cautions there on the restarts, and I was able to save enough to get to the end. And really, it's a lot of track position. That's what road racing is. I obviously had clean track that entire last run. I was able to run at my own pace, and was watching those guys and my relative racing behind me, and came off the last corner one time and looked at it, and second and third were wrecks. So it kind of made my life a lot easier. But yeah, I do have to thank John up in the spotter stand. He was a big help tonight.
All right, man. Well, obviously that locks you into the chase here, assuming you meet those attendance requirements. So, I mean, first of all, congratulations there, because I believe this would be your first appearance in the Elite Cup Series chase. So great job there. And before we let you go and finish celebrating this race win, man, we wanted to let you know if you had any shout outs.
Yeah, I got a couple shout outs. I need to shout out Brandon Brown, obviously, our driver in the Xfinity Series. I get to shout out Tyler Young, a truck owner in the truck series. We were over at Tyler Young's shop the other day, and I got on one of his motion simulators that he has, and I was a couple tenths faster than his drivers and 3 tenths faster than him. So I just need to get Tyler Young to get me in a race truck here soon.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations once again on the win, and we'll see you next week. And looking forward to seeing that 86 car running up front at Bristol Night Race, 500 laps, man. It's gonna be a crazy one.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for putting this show on. It's awesome to go back and watch them. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. That was our race winner, Colin Fern, and yeah, there we go. So now we are we're prepared to close it off for tonight here. David, it's going to be an interesting week leading up to the Bristol 500 night race. Talk about what you're looking forward to that, because that's going to be a long night in the booth for the both of us.
Whew, yeah, we might have to recruit old Alex Ned, bring him back for a little relief on 500 laps at Bristol. I'm looking for those guys to kind of take care of each other a little better, is what I'm really hoping for. I think that collectively the league needs to realize that we can't run the pace we ran at Milwaukee coming next week. And in addition, the kind of the way we started this third stage, you can't do that. Everybody's can't win the race at halfway from 15th spot. You got to take your time. You got to get through turn one. I know everyone's closer, but at a road course and at Bristol, you're going to be able to make up that time in the long run, and the leader's going to get lap traffic. You're going to come back to him. It's going to be a point at which we can kind of grow as a league, I think, and get people to not kind of throw caution to the wind. I did really like the racing that we had once we kind of cleaned it out. Thought it was going to be a good battle, and ultimately Tyler Fody and RC Anderson came together, battling what would have probably been for the win. So a little bit of salt there from RC, and Fody obviously not intentionally trying to wreck himself and RC out of the opportunity for the win, just trying to hold off that car that he knew was faster. But at the end of the day, those guys are going to have to run together each time out on Mondays and Wednesdays, and take care of each other and not try to run each other over. But I imagine we'll be seeing the 40 and the 50 running a little bit harder against each other in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, these stories carry on from week to week, and yeah, next week's going to be no exception. It's one that I think a lot of drivers would love to win. Bristol Night Race, one of our crown jewel events this season, one of our full race distance races. But yeah, that's gonna be a long night. So we're gonna end it here as early as possible so we can get our rest before that. But I've been Rich Kosa, joined by David Westergreen here in the booth. Thank you all so much for joining us here at the Timothy Plan at the Glen 62 lap event. It was an exciting race. Colin Fern victorious at the end, and Bristol is up next, baby. So thank you guys. Join us for that next week, next Wednesday, same time as always, and have a good night.